Mark, so I understand you are the Azure Architect at Microsoft. Can you tell a little bit about yourself?
That's correct. That's correct. I work in a group called the Microsoft Technology Center Business Architects.
Okay.
And my primary role is working with Azure as one of our clouds,
Right.
From an infrastructure and a DevOps perspective.
Okay. So you're dealing with a lot of DevOps, like helping the customer to deploy their solutions on the Azure? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So one of the mandates of the MTC is to have customers come to us and provide them architectural guidance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we do fall under the sales umbrella of Microsoft, but ideally we help customers remove blockers, understand our software and our services. And from my point of view, it's Azure and Azure DevOps.
Wonderful. So basically, you offer your insights about our overall architecture, the best practice to the customers to help them to. Wonderful. And speaking of today, we have the session about Secure DevOps. So it's not just the DevOps, but also add security to that. What's your view on that one?
Absolutely. My background is primarily, I've been in development for over 23 years. So I started off as a developer.
Okay.
Actually started off as a QA tester.
Okay.
Moved my way up into what we call software configuration management, which actually is a cornerstone of what DevOps is today.
Okay.
So being able to build and release the code that you're consistently writing in a consistent, repeatable way. Is a concept that, it's not a new concept, but we have a lot of interesting tools now to support a full DevOps pipeline and what that actually means. So we can build releases quicker, we can check our software quicker. One area that would really benefit from that is the security aspect.
Okay.
Being able to check code as it's being checked into source code or into your source repositories. And identifying any sort of risks or security vulnerabilities at that time.
Right.
Very different approach than, say, what we've done, a couple decades ago.
Okay.
Where we build our code, we then hand it over to the security team.
Yeah.
They then vet that out, deploy it on said infrastructure, and actually run that in a way where they can run a bunch of security suite of tools to test that out. Very timely, takes a lot of time to do that.
Okay.
You need the necessary infrastructure in place to do that. And a development cycle of 2 weeks potentially could blow out to 6 weeks just by adding that extra security step.
Right. What I hear is a lot of things related to automation. Also, I hear something about one team rather than individual kind of developers, security, operation. And I guess from Azure point of view, it's a platform to nicely wire those things together.
Absolutely, absolutely. From a cloud perspective, Azure and Azure DevOps as the kind of suite of tools that we use to release and build software, really glue all of that together to provide us a seamless SDLC.
Okay, so one process from end-to-end process, automated, and also across different teams.
Absolutely, and as we're going to talk about later today in our presentations, we're going to hear a lot of buzzwords like CI, CD, continuous improvement, continual deployment, and what those actually mean. Very key aspects to deploying software in a consistent, repeatable way.
Okay, wonderful. Because I also have a developer background. I can recall at the old time, all the separate process, and once you move things to production, you have to pass a lot of gate, right? And it takes a long cycle to finish that. But then the new things come like Agile, like SDLC, CI/CD.
Absolutely, and one of the things I tell my customers is this: the tooling's great, automation is great, but start with people and process.
Oh, okay.
So if you know what you have the appropriate people to do what they're supposed to do, and build out that software in a repeatable, consistent fashion, you're ahead of the game.
Wow, okay.
What's made it interesting and different over the last, I'd say, 10 years is the tooling in this space has greatly automated a lot of the human interaction.
Okay.
Things like gates, things like approval processes.
Right.
So moving software from one environment to the next.
Right.
Gone are the days where you get this monolithic zip file in a Word document.
Yeah, that's true.
That tells you how to install that software on said
I need
architecture.
to write a lot of things to let other people know. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, with the appropriate tools in DevOps, you can configure those build definitions and those release definitions.
Okay.
Inject security controls and checks as well as that pipeline.
Okay.
And kind of employ gated and approval processes along the way using the tooling.
Wonderful.
Right.
I really like the point you made for the people part. The people are the key for this one. Not just you have wonderful tools, the complete process, but the people understand that process and truly kind of know I would call it spirit of the DevOps, right?
Absolutely.
And as you know, we are from cyber tech and risk. So we care a lot about technology, but in the meantime, we also care about the risk. So pretty much like the concept of a secure DevOps. So you need to know the technology, but also realize the risk side and use people to put those things together.
Yep.
Do you have any tips or things you want to share with our members?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I'd like to share is change is uncomfortable.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So when we start talking about releasing software and then handing that over to another group that's going to spend 2-3 weeks vetting that out, going through security and controls, going through 100-page documents to make sure everything is kind of lined up, the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted.
Yeah.
Trust in the DevOps pipeline that will do a lot of the heavy lifting for you.
Okay.
So basically, it's a concept in industry, what we call shifting left.
Okay, what's left?
So if we were to look at a spectrum of an SDLC, on the left-hand side we have source code, we have build services.
Okay.
On the far right we have our release software into a production environment.
Okay.
So if we shift our security operations left, what that means is now we get that early on in the SDLC, so we can identify those bugs, those vulnerabilities before they even make it to production.
Wonderful. So basically make the security at an earlier stage by design rather than afterthought.
Absolutely.
So just like a bugs in a software, you capture that as early as possible, then it will help you to improve the whole process.
Absolutely. And one other aspect to that as well is because of the high demand to release features quickly, in Azure we're releasing features at a bi-weekly basis.
Oh, okay.
Crazy amount of innovation in a crazy amount of short time.
Yeah.
Right? To do that in a secure way, there is no alternative. You have to trust the DevOps pipelines. Okay. You have to trust the tooling that's going to do things like static code analysis, dynamic code analysis, things like fuzzing of your application, right? So that has to be automated. Yeah. Otherwise, you're dead in the water.
So it's not like something optional. You must do that to fit to the current business, like products, life cycle.
If you want to keep up with the pace of innovation, it's absolute must.
Wonderful. That's great talk. All right. Thank you very much, Mark.
That's great.
Thank you very much.